So I have this thought I wanted to share with you guys today. I read somewhere once, awareness is the key to change. On the topic of fixing the world and healing the world, which is a subject since centuries ago. The problem with the idea of awareness being the key to change is that you have one and two people who are aware and they don't have the courage to do something about it, or they don't know how to fix it, or they don't know what to do about it, but they are aware. And those people are few. I think in order to fix the world, so to speak, there's so many different layers to it. One, we have to remember we are not from here, right? This is a very unnatural place for us souls, right? Being that we're light beings, and we come from love, and source is all about love and bliss. But we come down here to this world of the great duality, hot, cold, left, right, up and down, pain, joy, all these different things that we come down here to feel is pretty rough. And on top of that, one of the rules of living here is you have to agree to come into forgetfulness. So you have to come down here and forget who you are and play the game in ignorance and find your way back to light. It's a pretty tough deal. So one of the top layers is this: remembering that we're not from here. And now that we've come this far, where we know that we are spirits and we are of God and of love, we have enough information where we can actually heal ourselves now. One of the ways I think we could do that is by first understanding that everyone is a victim, because we're all here in forgetfulness. So most people outsource their power to a god up in the sky, right? Religion is king in this world. Whether we like it or not, religion is dominant here. And as much as you have a lot of awakened souls like myself, religion is still, a very strong opponent. So people are naturally going to outsource their power to something other than self. Everybody come here to learn suffering, loss, abandonment, all of the different emotions. The great divide that happened with the beings who were here first is that they put us against each other with so many different tools. Things like religion, our history. People in my community, the outer body traveler community, we know the real truth. We know what really went on here. And a lot of us know more than others. I don't go as far as a lot of some of the guys, where they go and they check out certain things in the government and what they're doing in the history of this world. The alchemists talk about this a lot, about the history of this place and everything. You can go watch The Alchemist 369. If we come to the understanding that everyone is a victim in his own right, because no matter how valid you think your story might be, the next person has a story too, and the next person is going through their own set of pain and struggles, and you have to take that into account, because the same way you feel about your problems, the same way they feel about theirs, and they don't have the level of patience or compassion to extend themselves to see your pain when they have their own pain. Because I've been alive for quite a while, and I see it. Most people are selfish. That's the truth. Unless something major happens, people don't get together in solidarity very often. Unless something really, really major happens, something like 9/11, everybody come together. Most people are in their own world, and I could just never turn off my empathy and my compassion for people. What I think we can do is first understand that everybody has a story, and you gotta get out of that story, which is not easy. You can't just get out the story, because my story is my story, and how do you mean? And you don't know what they did to me, and you don't understand what I've been through, and I have to be this way, and I have to be like this, and and they're right. To them, they're right. There's another layer above that where, yeah, you're right, but look at this. So above that level, you have something called perspective. If I can broaden your perspective, providing that you're open to allow me to broaden your perspective by getting out of the victim mindset and allowing information to come in where you can see things in a different way, where you can ease your pain by knowing more, it takes that also. Here's the shortest and sweetest way I could put it. Everyone's a victim in their own right. So for that reason, everyone deserves compassion and understanding. We understand that we all have a story. What can you extract from the story? Who did you become? Did you become a bitter person? Did you become an empathetic person? Did you become depressed or whatever? The story is the story, and how you deal with the story, your bounce back from the story, determines how successful you'll be in this world. On the happiness scale, we have to be kind to each other, and that's where you open that first layer, by being kind to each other. Being kind by understanding that as much as my story is painful, I don't have to know their story, but let me just assume that they have a story. Just by the fact that they have a pulse, just assume that they have a story, and I don't know what they've been through. Why did this person do that? Why did that person say this to me? I wonder what makes them talk like that. I wonder what makes them think like that. That person has a story. And if we can bring ourselves to that point where we can see the other person as a fellow soul who are here on their journey, and they might not have bounced back from their story as well as you did, just lend a little hand of compassion, and you don't have to listen to you don't have to sit there and have them spell out their whole story to you, but just assume that they have one, and then that would give you the compassion or the empathy to at least give them grace, right? Now, I'm not saying go let people walk over you, because at the end of the day, we do have our story, and your story, depending on how you handle your story, you can feel justified in robbing and killing my entire family. So there has to be some boundaries, but the compassion part is what I'm talking about. And because we're all victims and we're all trying to survive, we do whatever we can do to survive by sucking one another's energy. We don't do that in the best way, because energy exchange is pretty normal and it's pretty legal spiritually, right? However, some people use manipulation to get people's energy, and they use force, and they bully their way through, and then they, overstep people's boundaries. They need to get their needs met. And there's an amicable way of doing that, and there's an illegal way spiritually of doing that, right? And most of us are doing it the illegal way, where we're siphoning one another's energy and causing each other's pain. What do I mean by that? What does that look like? For example, men and women. Women say men objectify us and we have to protect ourselves. That's true. Women objectify men. I don't think men know that women objectify them, because I'm not sure that they're looking that deeply into it, because most men haven't quite conquered their lust. And it's not just lust as in chasing that dopamine, but it's the fact that we're all here in forgetfulness, and then we're in survival mode. And for a man to feel, if he's not a drinker or he doesn't have a hobby like watching games or going to the gym or whatever, for the average man, sex can take care of a whole lot for him. So that's usually the go-to. When you go to work and you struggle and you're not making enough money or whatever, to feel alive, you do these little things that we call vices to bring yourself back to a state of bliss or peace, right? Because abundance is our birthright, but we don't know that because that was stolen from us, right? Again, illegally, taking away our energy, right? So we don't know these things. So the fact that we don't know that abundance is our birthright, we think that we have to lie, steal, cheat, and even the K word, right, to get what we want. So men objectify women by looking at them as sex objects, and the woman has a story, and it's like, oh, you don't care about my story, you just see me as a meat suit that you can sleep next to or sleep with. And she has a point. She's a victim. And women objectify men by looking at men as, these money machines, like we're all here in survival and we're all here trying to get energy from one another. And I know you want to sleep with me, so, you better pay for my this or pay for my that or give me money. And the way I grew up, at least what I was taught, what it means to be a man, was that you have to provide. There was nothing about the man being a person. Man feelings don't get counted in any way. You're supposed to be a provider, and you don't deserve anything from a woman unless you can provide something, right? It has to be those conditions. And unconditional love is the key. Now, naturally, the feminine is not going to mate with a masculine who doesn't have, stability, because she's risking her life by giving herself to him in that way. We're just designed that way. That's just the animal we are, right? So naturally, she's not going to just give you that, and then you're not going to just give her everything that you have when you think that she only want what you have, right? And she has a point, because I'm risking my life if I do this biologically, right? She doesn't really know, think about this deeply, but she wants to feel seen and not objectified, and he wants to be seen, and he thinks that he will never be seen because you have beauty, and every man wants beauty, and any man would give you their money or whatever to have some of what you have. So I'll just see what I can get without giving you what I have, and we objectify one another, and then that causes at least 80% of the problems and the pain here with just people, just one another. And then the rest of that is our different opinions based on religion, politics, and all the other stuff. But really and truly, what sit at the apex of all of these things is our survival nature. We all want to survive. And that's why men lie, women lie, right? So we all trying to get through this, which is ultimately to get back to home, to freedom, to bliss. Because we're in an unnatural place that we don't really... It's tough here. It's really tough here. Everyone's doing their best. And for the others who are not trying, those are the ones that cause the most pain, because they want to have something for nothing, and that creates separation. Creates separation on a level where it's you're nothing, you're nobody. Show me the money. You ever been to a place like a barbershop or a nail salon, and they're just rushing and doing the job because it's the job, and they don't see you as a person? They're just trying to get you out of the seat so they could get somebody else in there. Do you know how that feels? I stopped going to a lot of these places because of those things. And if anybody who see me on that interview with The Alchemist, I talked about how I went to the nail salon and the lady was all rough with me and talking about me in her language and, doing my feet like she didn't care about it. And I got up and I walked away because of the experience I had yesterday, where I saw my soul and I saw how I looked, how I looked from all the suffering from lying to myself and not giving to myself. But we just got to take care of one another. And I know that sounds cliche, I know that sounds easier said than done, but this what God is doing through me. The fact that I went out for a bike ride and this idea came to me and I just wanted to come and share it. These are the things that I'm talking about. When God started to move through me, I have to stop what I'm doing. I didn't even get a mile on the bike. I just stopped what I'm doing and I decided to stop and make the video, and I'm gonna get going now. But because, like I said, this is the Soul's Advocate, and what the Soul's Advocate mean is advocating for the soul, flat out like that. You speak from the soul. If something comes to you, say that. And as far as editing, I get the importance of editing, and they got to chop it up and make it quick so people get to the point, because people have their time, because people trying to get back to their thing in their life, and they have their story too, and they can't sit there and listen to you yap. No one is that special to anyone. Even if you got a message, the message is important, but if you can chop it up to make it shorter, which I'll do that, but I just wanted to get this out because it just came through me, and I didn't want to forget it. Because it was such a good insight that I had to stop in the middle of my bike ride and make this video. So I love you guys. I love all of you guys. I love everyone. And if only you could understand how simple that is. Just love everyone. Every person you're looking at has a story.